Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Be sure to hit the subscribe and like button. It does wonders for my video. Today I'm going to show you how to do this crisscross tie-dye t-shirt. I'm going to be using procion dye, rubber bands, soda ash, cling wrap, Dawn as in dishwashing detergent, a drop cloth, scissors, a bucket for the soda ash, and you're going to need water. So now it's time to start folding, and before you do any tie-dye projects, make sure to wash whatever it is you're going to be tie-dyeing. It helps to get all of the sizing off of it, which is like starch from the factory or dirt and oil. That's an important step. The first fold is going to be on the center front of the t-shirt, and I am having the front of the t-shirt on top. Then I'm going to fold it into quarters like this, and the corner in the middle of the t-shirt is going to be the crisscross. So wherever that is going to be where the X's are going to be on the body. So keep that in mind. So that tip at the top there is going to be the center of the X's. So I am going to fold it handkerchief style, and I'm going to match up that tip to where the sleeve and the side seams meet the t-shirt, and I'm going to accordion fold it handkerchief style into a rectangle, and I'm just going to do my best to make sure that it's matching up side to side on that rectangle. So I started with the kind of more unruly side, and I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing now on the side that's a little bit more neat and tidy. The corner of this side is going to be the center of the t-shirt, so I want to make sure it's lining up with the edges of that rectangle. And I'm going to put my first rubber band in the middle of that corner to secure it. It's the thickest part of the whole fold, so I just want to get it bound, and then I can come in with more rubber bands and put them on the sides. So here I'm going to put the second rubber band on the side and just make sure it is as flat as possible, the folds, before I put the rubber band on to keep it tidy. And then I'm going to add another rubber band on the collar side. I'm going to make sure that these rubber bands are as tight as possible, and I can just sort of arrange them to be symmetrical. I'm doing a tie-dye t-shirt series, and you can check out my other tie-dye t-shirt pattern tutorials on my channel. If you guys are looking for cool t-shirt tie-dye patterns, I would recommend looking at that series, and stay tuned for more. So it's all tied up, as you can see, and it's ready to go into the soda ash solution. It's nice and even, and I'm happy with the folds. So I'm putting it now in the soda ash solution. It's about 1 gallon of water to 2/3 of a cup soda ash, and I'm going to let that soak for about 20 minutes, and that helps get the fabric ready for the procion dye. So after it's soaking for 20 minutes, I'm going to take it out and be sure to wring it out really well, and wear gloves to make sure you're protecting your hands. Soda ash is not very good for your skin, so I always like to wear gloves and be careful. So now it's time to put down some color. I've got it nice and wet, but not like soaking wet. If you guys are enjoying this video, be sure to give it a like. It really helps my videos and helps me know what you guys are enjoying as far as what kind of videos I should make. I always start with the lightest color, so I'm putting down a coral color, and then I'm coming in with a light blue. And whenever I do tie-dye, I like to kind of leave some negative space to see where I am going with it. And I like to put down the second darkest color and then the darkest color. So however many colors you're going to use, just kind of go in that order. I like to do it that way. This is the darkest blue, and I'm kind of mixing the dark and the light blue, and then I'm going to be playing with this blue and orange. You know, blue and orange are opposites on the color wheel, so when you mix them, they make kind of neutral colors, and then they can be quite vibrant when they are next to each other. So I'm going to be playing with it, and that's the fun thing about tie-dye. It always kind of blends, but then it's like separate. So I'm putting in the darker kind of teal color here on top of the coral, on top of the lighter blue. And I'm using it from a jar because I just had extra that I didn't have room for an extra squeezy bottle. So I just was storing it in a jar I had, and I'm just putting it on the spoon. So now I'm going to turn it over and do the same pattern of color on the opposite side so that the X pattern will go through the entire t-shirt and be consistent. I wasn't sure about this color combination because of the opposite colors, but then I put it on my Instagram and asked people what they thought of it with some other ones, and like people really liked this one because it came out really beachy. And I also think that just using like a little bit of the orange is a nice touch. I like orange, but you know, I think people like blue better as far as like colors go. And anyway, if you have an idea of what this colorway reminds you of, and you have a name for a color name idea, be sure to put it in the comments below. I think it's kind of like beachy or tide, something with beach or tide, something like that would be fun. So now it's all dyed, and I'm going to wrap it up with cling wrap next. It needs to be set overnight, and it's called batching, where you let it sit in the cling wrap for 6 to 8 hours to set and let the dye really soak into the cotton. So I'm going to wrap it up really tight so that the t-shirt stays wet. I just don't want it to dry out because that's going to be what helps keep it setting all night. So I let it sit overnight, and now it's time to take off the cling wrap and to cut off the rubber bands. I like to save my cling wrap for other tie-dye projects. Obviously, I would never use it for food, but you can sort of reuse. And this is the most exciting part of every tie-dye project. I love to see how things turned out. And here it is. I'm unfolding the quarters, and you can see how the X pattern was formed. And it turned out really nice. I love how it has those two colors of blue, and then it is melding into the warm color of the orange. It's just a really nice touch, and I'm glad I didn't do too much orange. I think that would have been overwhelming, but I like the combination of the blue, the darker blue, the hit of orange, and then of course quite a lot of negative space. I always like to say tie-dye is a lot like watercolor, and I like to let the negative space breathe in the pattern, much like when doing watercolor. So I then rinsed it on cold until the water ran clear, and washed it then on hot with Dawn and let it dry on hot. And this is the finished product. I think it looks really awesome. Thanks so much for watching, and you guys can check me out on social media for more inspiration. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and I have a website, of course. I also teach online workshops. I have a link down below for my Skillshare class. If you want to try Skillshare for 14 days for free, go ahead and sign up through that link. And I also have an online live workshop that I teach, and I have tickets available on Eventbrite. So both links are down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe for a new video every Thursday. My channel is all about dyeing, sewing, and upcycling. See you guys next time.